So today I'm going to be doing my August TBR. I've just chose 10 books this month to put on my TBR, just a good old-fashioned TBR, because I really don't want to be starting any more series, so I don't want to leave it up to chance by drawing books out of jars or anything like that, because I've got so many series ongoing still. And this month I should be able to finish up quite a few of them. So hopefully my TBR for September will be done a little bit differently. My birthday is also in September, so I'm hoping I can have a little bit more fun with my TBR in September. But for this month, I'm just gonna go ahead and let you know which books I've chosen to read. So the first book that I'm gonna put on my TBR is The Wicker King. My husband actually picked this book for me to read. We were just hanging out in my library a few days ago, and I asked him, I was like, so if you could just choose from what the spines look like, what book would you pick? And this is the one he chose. So this is about this boy named August who has a best friend named Jack, and Jack is starting to show signs of this disorder called hallucinatory degenerative disorder. And he is having these hallucinations of this fantasy world layered on top of their own world. And Jack takes August on a quest in this fantasy world to fulfill this dark prophecy. And along this journey, August himself starts to question what's real and what's not real. So this is a YA fantasy, and I am pretty excited to read this because the pages are so cool. Like, the farther you get into it, the darker the story gets, like the darker the pages get. Like, how cool is that? So I'm so excited to get into this book. This is probably gonna be the next physical book that I pick up. Next is Ringmaster by Brianna Hale. This is an adult romance. This is about this man named Cale who runs and owns a traveling circus, and he treats his other circus performers like family because they went through a tragedy that brought them super close together. And he runs into this girl named Raya who is really down and ready to just give up with life. But she decides after meeting him that she's gonna run away with the traveling circus. And she's super drawn to Cale, and he does like a knife throwing sort of performance, and she wants to get involved with that, and she's just so drawn to him, but he tries really hard to resist her because I believe she's only 18 and he's a little bit older. So this one I'm really excited about. I've only heard one person talk about this book. I don't remember who it was, but I'm really excited to get into this one. And next is Beach Read by Emily Henry. Everybody and their brother has already read this book, but I have not. This is about these two authors who go on vacation and end up spending the summer in neighboring beach houses, and both of them have writer's block. One of them, the man, he writes literary fiction, the female writes romance, and because they're both having writer's block, they strike a deal with each other to write the other's genre. Sorry if you can hear Sebastian, he's scratching away in his cage. But they are going to switch genres and try to write for the other person's genre for the summer. So I've heard this is so good. Everybody that has read it that I know of absolutely loves it. So I'm hoping this is going to be a 5-star read and I will fall in love just like everyone else. Next is Sublime by Christina Lauren. This is a YA paranormal romance, and this is about this girl named Lucy who wanders out of this frozen forest, and she's just in like a slip nightgown type thing and sandals in this like super cold environment, and she doesn't know how she got there. She has no memory of how she got there. But as soon as she gets out of this forest, she sees this boy named Colin, and she immediately knows that he's the reason she's there. Like, she's there for him. And he sees her and has never been so captivated and so drawn to a girl before like he is with Lucy. But slowly her memories start coming back. She starts remembering what's going on, and they realize that she is dead. She's not alive. But that doesn't stop them from wanting to be together. And so Colin finds a way to physically be with her by bringing himself to the brink of death over and over again. And I'm assuming that bad things happen because of that, because the last line in the synopsis is some lines aren't meant to be crossed. So I'm assuming something bad's going to happen because he keeps bringing himself to the brink of death to be with her. So this one I bought a while ago because I wanted to read all of Christina Lauren's backlist because I really, really enjoy their books, and I just need to get around to reading this one. Next, we have The Chosen by J.R. Ward. This is the 15th book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. This is just the next one in the series that I read one every month. This one, though, is one that I am super curious how they're gonna make this work, because the two main love interests that this book is supposed to be following, I don't have any idea how that's gonna work out. So we will see. Next, I want to read Soothsayer by Canada Jackson. This book I have only heard Brie from 11 Words talk about, and it is the first book in a series, but there's only 2 out in the series so far. Apparently there's going to be 5 and there's only 2 out, so that's why I'm okay with starting it, because there's only 2 of them. And I've really been wanting to get to this book because covers of the book and the second book really draw me in and I want to read them. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the series. And this is about this woman named Sublime, and she's been raised in a fundamentalist community, and she's always followed the rules her whole life, afraid of that any deviation from the rules is going to make her end up losing her salvation. So she's been very good her whole life, and she ends up being thrown into the world of the Nephilim, and she meets Braith, who is a half demon and the complete opposite of everything she's been taught. And he is determined to show her that good and evil can blur the lines a little bit and it not be the end of the world. So this one I'm so excited to get to. I cannot wait. Next is Nightsong by Beverly Jenkins. This is a historical romance about this Kansas school teacher and this sergeant in the military, and she is super reluctant to have anything to do with him because soldiers never stick around, she says. And he is really intent on showing her how to love fully and freely, and that's really all I know about this one. But I'm excited to get to this one, not as much as the others, because I've realized that historicals are not my favorite historical romances, but I have read some that I've absolutely loved and given 5 stars. So I'm still gonna give the historicals a chance that I have and that I have on my list of books that I wanna read if they still sound interesting to me. So that's the next one on my list. Next is Cellar Door by Trisha Wolfe. This is a romantic suspense, I think. It's about this woman named McKenna who witnesses a murder and is then abducted by the vigilante, and he takes her to his underground lair. And while she's there, she has to uncover the mystery behind him and how their lives entangle. So I think this is a captor-captive romance, and I do tend to like those. I do know this is a very dark romance as well. Next is Room Hate by Penelope Ward. This is a adult romance, and this is about this girl whose grandmother passes away and leaves her this house, but she also leaves half the house to the boy that she helped raise, who the heroine grew up with. And he is also the only man that she's ever loved, but he now hates her because she broke his heart. And they both refuse to give up the house, so now they're living together. And he brings someone else along. He doesn't move in by himself. So this one I'm super excited about. I think it's gonna be like enemies to lovers, second chance romance. There's probably gonna be some drama. I'm curious if it's another girl he's bringing in or if it's one of his friends or so, who knows. But I'm excited to get to this one. And the last book that I'm gonna put on my August TBR is The Test by Sylvain Neuvel. This is about this man who takes the British citizenship test, and it's 25 questions that determines his fate and the fate of the rest of his family. And when the test takes a tragic turn, he is given the power over life and death, and we see what happens. It's a novella. I think it's less than 100 pages, so it's super short, but this one I've been super interested in for a while. So I'm excited to get to this one as well. And this one is science fiction, it's not romance. So those are all the books that I am adding to my August TBR. Let me know if you've read any of them, if you plan to read any of them, whatever your thoughts may be, I would love to know. And that is everything for me this time. I will see you all next time. Bye.